Aditya Birla Group presents Budget 2015, the Make in India Budget.
It's getting closer and closer. In a few days from now, the big union budget will be upon us. Expectations are sky high, and over the next 30 minutes on this special show, we put the spotlight on the key issues that the Make in India budget should address. And without much ado, here's what we have lined up for you on the show today. How will the Finance Minister balance his books? Will he stick to the fiscal deficit target and continue to pursue the path of fiscal consolidation? Will the Finance Minister unleash any stops to lift the manufacturing sector? Will SEZs, industrial corridors and smart cities get any tax relief? And the captains of industry have a three-point agenda: end tax terrorism, ramp up public spending and improve the ease of doing business. Is Arun Jaitley listening? Well, first up, as the Finance Minister rises to present his second budget, his message will be clear. The government will stick to its commitment to pursue the path of fiscal consolidation. This budget may also end up being a Make in India budget, with the government announcing definitive steps to boost manufacturing. Sapna Das and Kritika Saxena tell you how the Finance Minister is likely to balance his books.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is far more confident of achieving his fiscal targets than he was at the time of presenting his first budget. Despite a sluggish economy and slow pace of growth in tax revenues, the minister now looks confident of meeting the 4.1% deficit target for this fiscal. And he is likely to continue with the medium-term fiscal consolidation roadmap, pegging the fiscal deficit at 3.6% for FY16 and 3% for FY17, as well as maintaining robust tax targets to balance expenditure in the next fiscal.
We have targeted a fiscal deficit of 4.1%, but that's not also acceptable as far as we are concerned. We have a roadmap to bring it down to below 3% over the next couple of years, and we intend to maintain those targets.
To achieve his fiscal goals, the Finance Minister will include suggestions made by the Expenditure Management Commission in the coming budget. Going by Commission's recommendations, the affluent class may gradually go out of the cooking gas subsidy net. The Finance Minister is also likely to start targeting the kerosene subsidy better by limiting the benefits to the poor and levying user charges on others. Accordingly, the coming budget may also see a separate line of outlay for LPG and kerosene subsidies.
The next stage, we have to carve out the families who are not entitled to it. And therefore, that will be the reform as far as the cooking gas is concerned. There are, of course, areas where there is a misuse of kerosene subsidy. Kerosene is used both as fuel and also in dark areas in India. I had appointed in the very first month an Expenditure Management Commission. They've only 3 days ago given me the interim report with regard to rationalizing some of these subsidies. The Prime Minister last week, in a major address on economic issues, that said subsidies for the poor will remain, but we intend rationalizing them. And that's the area where we intend to move in order to cut down some part of the expenditure in order to finance our own activities.
The Finance Minister will also lean on soft crude oil prices to promote fiscal prudence and raise revenues accordingly. The government is likely to budget its oil bill for FY16 at around $70 to $75 a barrel, a huge drop from the previous budget when it was pegged at $108 a barrel. Excise duties, which have been raised 4 times already, will stay till crude touches at least $70 again. If economy shows signs of a pickup, it will be a bonus for the government, as the fiscal roadmap will also depend to a large extent on the degree of tax buoyancy. A significant shortfall in taxes might just force the government to squeeze spends again in the next year, a trend the Finance Minister is not in favour of.
Instead, the government will try to present a more realistic budget with robust but achievable tax targets balanced by focused expenditure. And to do this balance, the government will also keep in mind the impact of the additional spend on account of the 14th Finance Commission for Budget FY16, while the 7th Pay Commission award may weigh heavily on Budget FY17. In New Delhi, Sapna Das.
Well, it promises to be a tough balancing act. Now, the coming budget could also see major relief for the manufacturing sector by way of a lower MAT rate. Both Commerce and Finance ministries are in discussion on the possibility of supporting at least new areas like industrial corridors and smart cities with the lower MAT rate. The government has hiked the MAT rate consistently in the past, and it's only during the last 2 financial years that the rate has not seen an increase. It's currently at about 18.5%. While a final call will be taken in the budget, CNBC TV 18 reports large sections within the government are keen on a cut in the headline rate to spur manufacturing growth. Take a look.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is committed to incentivizing the manufacturing sector, and the coming budget could tweak the MAT rate as a major push for this sector. CNBC TV 18 learns the government is in discussion on whether the MAT rate can be reduced for some of the new initiatives of the government like industrial corridors and smart cities, as well as for employment-intensive sectors like MSME and units of SEZs. In fact, the Commerce Ministry is learned to have asked for a differentiated MAT rate for manufacturing. MAT is currently levied at 18.5%, while the effective rate moves up to close to 20% with the cess and the surcharge. Tax experts say a differentiated MAT rate for the manufacturing sector is not unreasonable. While the service sector can be kept at the peak MAT rate, a lower MAT rate of around 15% would be a major boost for manufacturing.
The government can at least make a distinction between companies that need additional investment, because there's going to be a lot of thrust on manufacturing in this budget, and the government is focusing on industrial corridors, on smart cities, manufacturing zones. So clearly there is a need to provide additional impetus, and I think this could be one way of creating the differentiation to say, if you're willing to make your investment in some of the dedicated zones and corridors, then this is what the government is willing to do in terms of a lower MAT rate.
The government targeted around 26,000 crores from MAT collections in the last fiscal, and this kitty is likely to expand as more and more startups will come under the MAT net. But revenue considerations aside, a boost to the manufacturing sector by way of a lower MAT may yield a substantial growth spin-off for this sector, something the government is probably aware about. In New Delhi, Sapna Das.
Well, will the Finance Minister oblige? Will there be a lower rate of MAT at least for certain kinds of projects? Now, foreign companies are lining up to make the most of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Make in India dream, and they're hoping the budget will bring with it a host of measures to make their life easier when it comes to structural and policy bottlenecks. Rituparna Bhuyan and Arib Sherwani compile that wish list for you.
France could be a key player in making the Modi government's Make in India campaign a roaring success. Over 950 companies from France, including Fortune 500 names like Airbus, Danone, Schneider and Renault, have pumped in close to $19 billion in India already and are getting ready to scale up their engagement with the country. But for that, they say North Bloc will have to announce several measures in Budget 2015. Lower taxes is just one item in a long list.
In India, the cost of maintenance is higher than if you compare in the region in Sri Lanka or Malaysia. So that, and it's basically due to the tax structure. So that there is a lot of improvement. Already, the Minister of Civil Aviation is pushing some proposal to the Minister of Finance.
Recently, there was a rollback of excise duty. So that's something we will be looking forward in terms of reconsideration on that.
Airbus, which has joined hands with the Tata Group to bid for the 13,000 crore rupee Avro aircraft replacement contract, also wants a higher FDI cap in the defense sector.
Highest level of FDI we'll have, the more control we'll have on the operation in India. It will facilitate for us to transfer key technologies in India and also to establish export base from India.
Technology transfer would be meaningless without a strong IPR regime, one that's skewed towards R&D. And that's a big demand for companies engaged in the agri-product space.
Measures supporting and helping innovation. I think we are very committed to creating and inventing Indian products designed for Indian consumers, and this requires research, this requires local innovation.
The list of demands is endless, and these companies may have to settle for considerably less when the Finance Minister presents his budget document, especially on the FDI front.
Except for multi-brand retail, India is a totally liberalized economy. In fact, I was asking my Joint Secretary the other day who deals with this, Atul, who's sitting here, to tell me any other sector which we can open up even more and more. And he was at a loss of words.
This sounds ominous, but as the Finance Minister has said numerous times, the budget is not the only event where policy changes are made or initiated. So for these French companies, getting their wish list granted may turn out to be all about how well the Finance Minister is able to convince his peers in other departments to push ahead with non-tax reforms. In New Delhi with Rituparna Bhuyan, Arif Sherwani.
Now, the government's Make in India dream now end tax terrorism, create fiscal space for greater public spends and increase the ease of doing business. The three-point mantra that captains of India Inc. are swearing by. Speaking on the sidelines of the Remaking India discussion by Mint for Budget 2015, industry leaders shared their wish list. Ashmit Kumar gets us a peek.
India Inc. is not mincing words in placing tax reforms the highest on the agenda for Make in India Budget 2015.
Tax reforms will be another big area, and I think we've seen a lot of disappointment in the past with ad hocism, with tax terrorism, with GAR implementation, and all those kind of things. So I think those need to be settled, and there has to be a very clear view and a stance taken by the government, followed up by good action thereafter on how, let's say, GST implementation is going to happen. I think that's a big reform. Finally, thank God, we're kind of moving in that direction.
Industry captains have also pointed at issues varying from infra projects in a logjam to slashed health budgets to absence of stimuli for prospective defence players. A common thread, they claim, is the need for greater public spends.
Do we do more divestment? How do you create the fiscal space? You're going to need the fiscal space as you go forward, and how are you going to create that? And I think there are many different ways, and opinions could be from divestments to increasing taxes, which of course nobody wants it, but nobody will do it. But also it is also a question of land that is available with the government that can be sold, the spectrum sale that's coming up, the mine sale that's coming up. I think there's plenty of opportunities that are coming up for us to generate enough cash in the system.
Meanwhile, stressing on the need to make India before making in India, industry leaders are also pointing at the need to improve the ease of doing business, with Pakistan and Nepal ranking higher than India.
The second part of making India investment friendly is really about creating an environment where, whether it is arbitration, whether it is parameters such as a single window for clearance and approvals, reducing the number of approvals required. Today, if we need about 140 approvals to set up a business in a sector, to be able to bring that down and have a single window of clearance, I think these two would be critical requirements for making India investment friendly.
India Inc. assures that there is money on the sidelines waiting to participate for realizing the Make in India dream. But the onus, they say, is on the government to provide the cues. In New Delhi, Ashmit Kumar.
And that's what India Inc. wants. Now, most industry leaders have a long wish list for the finance minister, but not Bajaj Auto's Rajiv Bajaj. Instead, he has a list of things he wishes the finance minister will not do. Here's a report.
He's well known for swimming against the current, but Bajaj Auto's Rajiv Bajaj has gone one step further. While everyone has a long wish list for Budget 2015, Bajaj says he hopes the finance minister will stay away from giving the sector short-term tax incentives and subsidies.
As far as the budget is concerned, first and foremost on a specific issue of excise or any form of subsidy, etc., I have always been very skeptical and very, if I may say so, opposed to any kind of short-term SOPs, subsidies, incentives, because I think what is unsustainable is unsustainable.
Long-term sustainable measures, however, will be most welcome, especially those that help the industry navigate any demand headwinds it may encounter. But Bajaj is also busy beefing up his company's product portfolio to ensure that any disappointments in Budget 2015 do not hurt growth. The two-wheeler giant is working on a slew of new offerings between now and June, which should significantly propel market share from below 20% levels. These will add nicely to the recently launched new version of its mass-market Platina motorcycle and its value-for-money 100cc offering planned for February.
From next month onwards, which is from March onwards, up until June, in these 4 months, we will actually roll out products at the other end of the spectrum in the sports segment, which, as you know, is a segment dominated by Bajaj with about 45% market share. So, new Pulsars, possibly even a new Avenger.
The strategy is clear. SOPs or no SOPs, Rajiv Bajaj is making his own road when it comes to driving growth both domestically and in the export markets. And as long as there are no untoward shocks to contend with, the company will remain in top gear through the coming financial year. With Ashmit Kumar in New Delhi, in Mumbai, Alexander Matthew.
Well, no short-term SOPs, especially don't tinker with the excise rate. I think that is the consensus from industry. Up next, Prime Minister Modi's ambitious Clean India funds might just hit a roadblock, but the government seems to have a contingency plan in place. Details when we return.
Aditya Birla Group presents Budget 2015, the Make in India Budget.